Oh, let's see what the news is for today. Before bedtime. Climate change impacts South Asia. Man, seriously, are we still at this again? I really don't get why people don't understand that climate change is just a hoax. It's a fancy way to rob us of our money. Now, chances are you must have heard that or something, anything on the lines of that. Maybe even personally know someone who thinks this way, and that is incredibly unfortunate in my opinion, given that there are clear indications which point otherwise. Guys, climate change is real, and this video is going to be discussing the impact of climate change in the South Asian countries of India and Pakistan. And yes, I urge you, I implore you to set aside your political stance in case you have a sense of hyper-nationalism on either side of the border, which urges you to not watch this video and understand the plight of people living on the other side. It's very important for us to set aside those differences, whatever they may be, and understand that we have a lot in common than we let on. And this video is going to be looking to highlight that. And of course, it's very close to home because I'm an Indian, I live in Mumbai. Thankfully, my city has not been affected by the floods in the past few weeks, but the northern states, such as the Himalayan regions of Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, and the state of Punjab have been ravaged by the impact of the floods that we have seen. And on the other side of the border, regions such as Gilgit-Baltistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and Pakistan's region, province of Punjab, have been heavily affected by these very same floods. Before I get into the details, let's talk a few figures, because I feel like figures somehow tend to have a bigger impact than words do, which I still find astonishing, but it is what it is, unfortunately. So, just to give you a few figures, thousands of people in India have been displaced. 4 million in Pakistan have been displaced, with over 900, as reported by the UN, having lost their lives. Now, I do not have exact figures in India, but I can assure you that hundreds, tens to hundreds of people have lost, approximately 50 people have lost their lives in Punjab. So I think that does, if you were to extrapolate the data, you can say that hundreds have lost their lives in India as well. This is a huge concern because these are not just figures on a piece of paper or on your computer screen. These are real human lives that we're talking about. I've seen the images, I've seen videos, I've seen people talk about it both in India and in Pakistan, given that I have some very good friends in Pakistan as well. It's harrowing. The images are harrowing, and it's just it makes your heart bleed and makes you feel helpless in a situation which again is being attributed to natural causes. But let me tell you one thing right here, right now, this is anything but a natural cause, and we will delve into that later in this video. But for now, I want to talk about what has caused these flash floods. It's very easy to account these flash floods to cloudbursts, but the IMD has actually debunked the idea that all these states have undergone flash floods, because the truth is states like Punjab have not undergone cloudbursts and have yet faced the brunt of flash flood. Now, what is a cloudburst? Now, the Indian Meteorological Department, or IMD, defines cloudbursts as incessant rains of 10 centimeter over a period of 1 hour, covering a land area of 20 to 30 square kilometers. That's what a cloud burst is. And yet, scientists have been very quick to point out that flash floods do not necessarily solely happen because of cloudbursts. And of course, there have been cloudbursts, but that is not the sole cause of why these flash floods are happening in the first place. Now, let's address the climate cynics head on. Why are these flash floods happening? Well, scientists have repeatedly claimed that the higher level of moistures over the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea regions, which then move towards the mountainous regions of India, consequently do lead to the flash floods that we witness today. And one of the reasons of these higher level of moistures is, as you may guess, global warming. And now I know that there will be a few people out there who might question that Punjab is not really a mountainous region, right? So why does Punjab face flash floods? Well, you're absolutely right, and I have an answer for that as well. So the reason that regions which are not mountainous, such as Punjab, face flash floods is because of a phenomenon known as western disturbance. So as the term suggests, the western disturbance does not actually occur in the South Asian region. It actually occurs in the Mediterranean region, where there's a storm which is outside the tropics, which travels eastward. And when it does, it concurrently also carries with it colder air from the upper regions of our atmosphere, which when combined with the relatively warmer air in this part of the world leads to catastrophic consequences, such as the flash floods that we saw. And scientists have usually observed this occurrence during the winter months, but in the past 2 decades, it is twice as likely to happen in the monsoon months, specifically in the month of June, which again raises alarms as to why this is happening in the first place. And guess what? Scientists have attributed this once again to, yes, global warming. And global warming is believed to increase the frequency and the intensity of such occurrences in the future as well. Now, we would be completely amiss to not hold those who actually are elected and are actually being paid tax money accountable for the disaster that we face today. And yes, this has been an abject failure on the part of authorities who are responsible for our well-being in the first place to address the growing concern of climate change. And now when it comes to India, I am not trying to point fingers at a specific government. I am not trying to suggest that the union government is at fault here, because honestly the state governments are just as much culpable, because just as an example, Punjab does not have a BJP stronghold. It just hasn't had a BJP stronghold in a very long time, and yet they have done absolutely nothing when it comes to the welfare of their people. In fact, they've asked for a 20,000 crore relief package, out of which the union government says that they already have access to the 12,000 crores, which is already a part of the state disaster relief fund, and there is absolutely no accountability as to how they have spent all that money. Despite them saying that it's very much in public domain, we have absolutely no idea how that money was spent. And once again, the union government is not to be absolved of this blame either, because all that road development that you see, especially up north in the Himalayan regions, that is a contributing factor to what is happening today. Experts have said that it's very important that economic development goes hand in hand with ecological preservation, but it's clear that the former is getting precedence over the latter when it comes to our union government, which is why there has been absolutely no sort of vetting of what region should be considered for the development of highways. Now, I'm not averse to the idea of developing highways. I think it is important for the economic prosperity of a nation, but not at the cost of the loss of innocent lives. So, and guess what? The contractors who actually build these roads, they are, rather than actually focusing on building these roads well, they are focused on meeting their deadlines and getting that paycheck, which means that all the debris that they have accumulated over the construction of the road is left as is, and the government does not hold them accountable for that. And having this debris is absolutely catastrophic, because when it rains and when it floods, the debris is actually going to exacerbate the flooding that the region is going to experience. And if you want a specific example, the Char Dham project that the union government has sanctioned, for which there has been a budget of 12,000 crores, and I think approximately it's supposed to be cutting across a decent area of Uttarakhand, which also includes the ecologically sensitive Kedarnath, and has already, and the construction is almost done for about 650 kilometers, if I'm not wrong, out of the total 825 kilometers. So there has already been a lot of irreversible damage that has been done in the name of economic development. And again, on the other side of the border, the Pakistani government was very quick to blame the Indian government for releasing water from overflowing dams into upstream into Pakistan, which is what caused the floods. But even their own citizens, such as a farmer of the Punjab region with the good name of Mr. Gindal, I hope I haven't pronounced that incorrectly. If I have, please do correct me in the comment section. But he has asserted that there have been multiple attempts where he's tried telling the state governments to build embankments along the river courses of the region of the state, so as to ensure that the calamity that we saw now does not happen. And yes, those calls were continuously ignored by the relevant stakeholders. Similarly, the advent of tourism and development in the region of Gilgit-Baltistan has actually resulted in has actually exacerbated the flooding conditions there, simply because, if you want an example, the Skardu runway was actually expanded, which actually has consequently led to larger aeroplanes flying to and fro from the region, which again, aeroplanes are terrible for the environment, which has led to a lot of glacial melting, which again, well, glacial melting is one of the major contributors to flooding in Pakistan. And again, both countries have been responsible for a lot of deforestation. In fact, according to the Forest Watch, Pakistan has lost about 9 kilohectares of forest, which roughly is the size of Islamabad. And now I don't have exact figures such as those for India, but I can assure you, and you can just look at RA Forest as an example, where government has no qualms in terms of carrying out the felling of trees. So now this does beg the question of what we should do, because at the end of the day, it's quite clear that money is fungible, where it is siphoned, where it is misused, and the people who actually should be getting all that money are not getting it, because farmers on both sides of the country have clearly stated that they are not getting the kind of money which is actually which they are actually entitled to. So if the IMF really wants to help, or if the union government in India really wants to help, what we need to do is we need to build a sense of accountability and transparency, which again is not going to happen overnight. So the next best solution is to ensure that instead of money being dispersed to the relevant accounts, there's actually a conscious effort in redeveloping the areas which have been affected, and actually supporting the family, maybe not in terms of monetary wise, but by supporting them with all their everyday needs, such as healthcare, education, housing, shelter, food, everything. So basically that kind of, I mean, you can't really misuse any of these products, right? Like if you get what money is supposed to buy, you can't really misuse it. But money on the other hand is very fun, as we have seen on multiple regions of the world, including India and Pakistan. So I hope that this video has provided some insight to you. If it has, please leave me one of these and subscribe to this channel. This channel is cloud free. This is real talk only. And when I say real talk, it means that I might tick a few people off, and I'm okay with that, because I think addressing brutal truths and harsh realities is important if we truly want to preserve this planet. Because like this beautiful quote that I read someday, we do not inherit this planet. We borrow it from our children. That's all I have to say. I hope that each and every one of you, not necessarily just in India and Pakistan, all over the world, are doing well. I pray for you and your loved ones, and I would love to know what your thoughts are. Until then, please take care, stay safe.